I'm joined now by Faisal Abbas, the editor of Arab News, who was at a VIP-packed lunch with Donald Trump, and you were there when he made that speech as well. You've been there for most of the day. Just give us a sense of what it was like in the room, the sort of energy we talked about. Sort of it really was highly charged energy in there.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, Yalda. In terms of energy, I can only describe it as a rock star reception, and it has a lot to do with Donald Trump persona, but also the messages that he delivered in his speech. I think the Riyadh speech of Donald Trump is going to go down in history, at least in this part of the world, as a very favorable speech. He did pass on several very important messages. First of all, he appeared as a true statesman and a man of peace. I know that's not what perhaps many people might associate him with, but the words are out there, and he did offer Iran an olive branch. He did lift the sanctions on Syria. He did say the Palestinians deserve better. He did say they're working hard with their new ambassador to help rebuild Lebanon. That's going to go and resonate very well in the region. Second point he made was acknowledging U.S. foreign policy mistakes in the region, whether it's by the neocons or the liberals, the interventionist policy, which has caused miserable failures across the region. And last but certainly not least, the acknowledgement of the success story in the GCC, mainly Saudi Arabia, of course, but he also talked about the United Arab Emirates and Qatar, and emphasized that this is a homegrown success story, a model that America is very happy to support and partner, and almost like renewing vows. As you know, this is, when we talk about the Saudi-US relationship, we're talking about 80 years of history, and America has always pledged to come to Saudi's defense if needed be. This now goes beyond reiterating that pledge to saying that America is wholeheartedly, at least under this administration, supportive of the transformation that's going on in this country.
The controversy surrounding the Qatari 747 plane to become Air Force One, you know, that is part of the story as well here. And there it is. And we now have news on that. What?
Of course, this has come with an enormous amount of scrutiny and questions concerning the ethical, legal, and security concerns about accepting this plane. Experts say that it could take an extremely large amount of money and a long time in order for this plane to be ready to serve as Air Force One.
This is a very simple government-to-government dealing. Even if there is something is coming out of Qatar for the U.S., it's coming out of love. It doesn't come out of in exchange of anything.
Hey, what's up, everybody? For the sake of me not running my mouth and just talking and ranting the whole time, especially after that last Joe Biden video where I kind of ranted the whole time, I want to talk a little bit more about the Middle East tour from Donald Trump, because the news dominated, the propaganda just went crazy about this Qatari jet. That's all the news would talk about, is this Qatari jet, the Qatar jet, the Qatar jet, the emoluments clause. Ridiculous. Jasmine Crockett said Trump's violating the emoluments clause because he took this jet, and it's just not true. It's just a waste of your time. It's just a distraction and a waste of your time. So, okay, guys, sources will be down in the description. Links will be down there. I'm going to post the entire speech down in the description if you want to watch the whole thing. The main thing I want to focus on is something you probably didn't hear about. Trump lifted all sanctions on Syria. They elected a new government, elected a new president. He does happen to be a former Al-Qaeda fighter and, a former quote-unquote terrorist. It is what it is. He's taken control of Syria. Trump is going to give Syria a chance. That was something that was heavily pushed on Trump from the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, and we are a major ally with Saudi Arabia. So Trump is he's listening to the Saudi Arabian prince and wants to give Syria a chance to flourish and be a real country and not be a pariah nation anymore. And that was a big announcement. That was a big deal. The other side of it was Trump talking about the so-called nation builders failing in this region and trying to force Western values on a region that did not want them. But being able to stay peaceful and working towards trade agreements and working towards, basically, Trump sat in a room full of investors and billionaire, multi-millionaire, investors from the Middle East and said, look, I don't know what the previous quote unquote nation builders wanted to do here, but they failed. So let's stop all that and let's just get rich. Let's just make money. Could we just make money and do deals with each other and have peace and never bomb each other? The the overarching theme was commerce over chaos. That's kind of what the overall theme was, and you missed it because of the dumb Qatari jet and the news not covering what actually happened. According to the left and the globalists, Trump is laughed at and is a joke, and the whole world's laughing at us. But in reality, if you peel back the layers of propaganda, it's not quite what they say, huh? Take a look at this.
Donald Trump has reached peak hero status in the Middle East after a hugely successful visit to the region. His latest announcement, the lifting of sanctions in Syria, caused an eruption of mass celebrations on the streets. Trump has truly gone to the Middle East with a goal of peace and prosperity for all, and is acting on this.
I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
Syria's new president thanked Donald Trump for the move and heralded in a new age of prosperity for the troubled nation.
My dear fellow citizens, the path and the road is still long, and we are about to start the revolution of Syria so that we can transform Syria and make Syria a country of work and prosperity. And from here, we confirm that Syria will commit to.
Online commentators celebrated the news, with this person saying, "While most Americans probably didn't even hear that President Trump lifted sanctions on Syria, Syrians have filled the streets in celebration. For many, this is life-changing news." This commentator agreed, saying, "I will say this. For all my criticisms of Trump this week, if there is one man who can somehow make Syria change from a pariah regime to a functioning country, it's him. I really want to be hopeful this is the start of something new. Not holding my breath, but still." The announcement made Saudi Arabian Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman visibly excited, with the leader beaming with happiness. As well as giving Syria a lifeline, Trump's visit to the Middle East was very successful for the economic future of the United States, with the president signing hundreds of billions of dollars worth of investments and partnerships. Trump then went on to Qatar, where he was given a rock star welcome, and brokered a multi-billion-dollar purchase agreement of 160 planes between Boeing and Qatar, the largest in the history of the company.
And the United States of America. Boeing purchase agreement signed on behalf of the state of Qatar by His Excellency Badr Mohammed Al Mir, CEO of Qatar Airways Company, and behalf of the United States, Kelly Ortberg, President and CEO of the Boeing Company.
This commentator summed up Trump's achievements in the Middle East so far.
Yesterday, Donald Trump went to Saudi Arabia and secured a $1 trillion deal. Today, he's in Qatar, where he secured a $1.2 trillion deal. So in 2 days of being on the road in the Middle East, he secured signed contracts, signed deals, $2.2 trillion. So in just a matter of a few months, we left from having a president who was handing out money whatever chance he get. He was just pumping out money, millions, tens of millions, and billions of dollars at a time. And on top of that, everybody who he was giving money to was ungrateful. Nobody respected or appreciated him or the American people. To now having a president who in 2 days he secured over $2 trillion. And everyone's showing respect. Matter of fact, they called him the president of the world, not just the United States. They actually said that.
And this commentator doubled down, saying Trump deserves recognition for his peace efforts. He said, "The bromance between Donald Trump and Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman is off the charts. Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize. Peace through strength."
Look, that was just kind of the, I guess, the overall view of the main things he did there, as per Sky News Australia, which is normally a pretty good outlet for Trump positive, non-Trump derangement syndrome news for the most part. It's normally pretty positive towards the GOP and Donald Trump. Not sure why, but it is what it is. Sky News Australia always is telling the truth and being honest. But I really didn't want to talk too much about this, guys. I really just wanted to bring to your attention what you missed in the propaganda mix of them not wanting you to see this. They didn't want you to see Donald Trump being respected by the black and brown leaders throughout the world. They don't want you to see that because they need you to believe that he's a racist monster who is indiscriminately firing black and brown employees in the federal government. That's what they need you to think. So they're not going to show you this. They're not going to show the cessation of, Syrian sanctions that have their people dancing in the streets and celebrating. They're not going to show that stuff. This is by far, now he's still got a ways to go here, but this is by far the best president of my lifetime. And I'm sorry, I have never respected or cared for a president in my life like this. I've never cared enough. I've always paid attention, but I never cared enough to really see the levels of respect and the levels of business practice exhibited by this president. Or I've always said that our government and our country is run like a big corporation, and we've had people in charge. The only people that want to be in charge are people that need to get rich themselves, that want to fatten their pockets, and they see this whole corporation run country like a money laundering mill for themselves to get rich. And that's why they stay politicians for their entire lives. It's really disgusting. It's almost like we have to put in power people that have so much money they cannot be bought. And you know, I didn't want to start that trend with Trump. I did it as a joke in 2016 to screw over the deep state because they were screaming so bad they didn't want him. So I was like, well, whatever, I'm going to put him in charge. The people that I hate don't want him, which means he's probably a good thing. Let me give him a chance. Gave him a chance, and he did a great job. And then now he's back again doing an even better job than he did the first time, and it's just mind-blowing. Now, if you want to listen to the whole speech, the description will be down in the link, and the description will be in the link. The link will be in the description. But go listen to the whole thing, guys. I promise you, this is one of Donald Trump's best speeches. This video would be 2 hours long if I reviewed the entire speech and showed you every little bit and piece from it. I promise you, go listen to this speech. It is measured. It's smart. It makes sense. The main thing I want to highlight is Trump bashing neocons to this room of Arab investors. He left with trillions of dollars worth of deals, signed deals, ready to do business with the United States. And you know, the so-called talk of nation builders and all the missteps from the neocons over the last 20 to 30 years. I mean, he just said it, right? Just listen. But I'm telling you, listen to the whole speech. This was one of his greatest speeches.
Exactly 8 years ago this month, I stood in this very room and looked forward to a future in which the nations of this region would drive the forces of terrorism and extremism, drive them right out of existence, and take your place among the proudest, most prosperous, most successful nations anywhere in the world as leaders of a modern and rising Middle East. So exciting, so exciting. Before our eyes, a new generation of leaders is transcending the ancient conflicts of tired divisions of the past and forging a future where the Middle East is defined by commerce, not chaos, where it exports technology, not terrorism, and where people of different nations, religions, and creeds are building cities together, not bombing each other out of existence. We don't want that. After so many decades of conflict, finally it is within our grasp to reach the future that generations before us could only dream about, a land of peace, safety, harmony, opportunity, innovation, and achievement right here. And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. But with that said, Iran can have a much brighter future, but will never allow America and its allies to be threatened with terrorism or nuclear attack. The choice is theirs to make. We really want them to be a successful country. We want them to be a wonderful, safe, great country. But they cannot have a nuclear weapon. This is an offer that will not last forever. The time is right now for them to choose. Right now, we don't have a lot of time to wait. Yet I'm here today not merely to condemn the past chaos of Iran's leaders, but to offer them a new path and a much better path toward a far better and more hopeful future. As I've shown repeatedly, I am willing to end past conflicts and forge new partnerships for a better and more stable world, even if our differences may be very profound, which obviously they are in the case of Iran. I have never believed in having permanent enemies. I am different than a lot of people think. I don't like permanent enemies, but sometimes you need enemies to do the job, and you have to do it right. Enemies get you motivated. In fact, some of the closest friends of the United States of America are nations we fought wars against in generations past, and now they're our friends and our allies.
You know, I know a lot of that stuff seemed like common sense, just like normal things to say, and everything he did was totally normal. According to CNN, MSNBC, and the mainstream media, and all the propaganda outlets, this was really, really bad. This was a terrible trip. And then the only thing they got NPR. Here's 5 takeaways from the Trump's major trip. Are you ready? Trump's ego. All right, it's just Trump's ego. It got played his ego. That's all. Oh, the plane. It was a trip focused on deals, but there was a plane overshadowed all of it for some reason. And then number 3, a plane. The plane's bad. It's a bad plane. Number 4, Trump got what he wanted, but didn't talk about democracy or any human rights issues yet. Yes, he did. What are you talking about? Um, huh? And then number 5 was the trip was about deals. Like, dude, what is this? What is the news? But then you learned a little bit about Syria, Iran, Gaza, and Ukraine. So, of the 5 takeaways from NPR, which by the way is suing the Trump administration for defunding them to take away their taxpayer money because they're extremely biased to the Democrats, and then they write an article like that that's just like, yeah, here's the 5 takeaways from that awesome speech, one of Trump's best speeches ever to foreign nations across the world, in cultures that we don't fully understand or relate to really at all towards our Western values. And there are 5 takeaways. 2 of the 5 takeaways are this was a trip about deals, but the plane is a really bad thing. And then it's just like they all just blend. What were the 5 takeaways? That's what they're. Wow. All right. So look, I'm gonna end it here just because I'm running my mouth too much. I just wanted to show you guys a little bit from the Middle Eastern trip. I thought it was a great speech by him. I thought it was very measured. It was smart. Everything he said made sense. He got multiple standing ovations and many times throughout the speech. But according to the media in America, Trump is a joke. Everyone thinks he's the worst. He's a criminal. He's a thief. I just looked through the comment section of that MSNBC video that I couldn't download for some reason. CNN and MSNBC are being wild with their downloads. I'm struggling to download them. It's just like the coding is broken. It's really weird. Anyway, but yeah, they're just. I went to the comment section on MSNBC, brothers. It was crazy. They're just like, does he do anything that's even legal? It's like what? What is that? What does that mean? Then it's just a bunch of thieves. Get all of these corrupt billionaires out of the White House. There's no place for them in the White House. I can't believe the billionaires have taken over our democracy. Get them out. That's what the Democrats are saying right now. And I'm just like, do you hear yourself? Oh my God. Okay. I told you I'm going to end it here. Let's just end here. Guys, check the description. Links will be down there. All the videos I shown here, I'll just put all the links down there if you want to check them out yourself. But go listen to the speech. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good speech. It wasn't just what he said. It was who he was saying it to. It wasn't about who he was talking. It wasn't about what exactly he said. It was the people he was speaking to. And it's a world that's very far away from ours, but we need to do business with these people and not be in a blood feud forever with these. It's not worth it. I don't like permanent enemies either. I totally agree with them. When people say Russia is our enemy, I'm like, where? What? How? What are they? Why are they our enemies? The last time there was a major conflict, really with major conflict, we fought with the Russians to kill the Germans. I mean, I know there was the whole Cold War nonsense, which basically was there was no war. The Cold War was just a bunch of posturing, pretty much for the most part. I'm sure there's some stuff in there I'm leaving out just for the sake of brevity, but it was a posturing war, is what the Cold War was, and it's still kind of like that today. It's really a nothing burger. It's just two major military powers are posturing towards each other. But the last time shit hit the fan, we were locked arm in arm with them, walking through the goddamn snowy forest hunting Nazis. So I don't really see them as an enemy. Maybe on the economic global stand there's some strife there, but other than that, I agree with Trump. No permanent enemies. The Palestine Gaza blood feud needs to end. It just we don't care. We don't Ukraine and Russia just figure it out. Palestine and Israel, figure it out, dude. Why are we involved? Go away. Stop. Leave us alone. Anyway, man, I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Hit those buttons. I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. Thanks, Rich.